You're listening to the Talk, Tales, and Trivia podcast, where your host, Stephanie, talks about an enlightening topic in pop culture and ends with a rave review about something or someone. Talk, Tales, and Trivia starts right now.
Hello, this is Stephanie, Talk, Tales, and Trivia. How are you doing today? Well, it's mid-August. And we can see the summer is almost over. It's almost Labor Day. And I personally can't wait. The only thing that is great about the summer for me, and I'm sure that some of you may agree, is that it is easier to get dressed. Put on a pair of shorts, sandals, and a top, and you are done. No problem. But Labor Day is right around the corner, and so I have such great memories of fall and winter seasons, and I can't wait for this one. This episode is especially exciting for me because it brings in what I just talked about, nostalgia. What is nostalgia? Well, the Merriam-Webster dictionary has a rather short definition, and it is excessively sentimental yearning for, return to, or of some past period or irrecoverable condition. On fatherly.com, I find an article with a rather long title, The Science Behind Our Generation's Waning Interest in Nostalgia. The scientifically backed benefits of nostalgia could be a thing of the past. Well, the term nostalgia was coined in 1688 by Johannes Hofer, a Swiss doctor who defined it as a neurological disease of essentially demonic cause. Well, that doesn't sound good. By the 19th and 20th centuries, nostalgia continued to be negatively associated with immigrant psychosis and mentally repressive compulsive disorder. That was until a psychologist pioneered a new field of study over a decade research that said otherwise and concluded nostalgia is essentially healthy. Thank goodness. But is it evolving? Am I less likely to feel nostalgic than my parents? Modern experts are not sure. It is suggested in the article, nostalgia can foster creativity, improve relationships, and bolster motivation. Well, all that's great. But I found this on the HuffPost.com website, an article entitled, The Incredible Powers of Nostalgia. And it says that when we experience nostalgia, we tend to feel happier, have higher self-esteem, feel closer to loved ones, and feel that life has more meaning. And on a physical level, nostalgia literally makes us feel warmer. Nostalgia can produce increased optimism about the future. And consider this, your nostalgia can affect those around you. After nostalgizing, which is actually not a word, people donate more generously to charity. And sharing a nostalgic conversation with a friend, family member, or romantic partner makes you more supportive and considerate and less argumentative. Nostalgia can be remembering basking in the glow of your senior prom, if you went to yours, and never wanting that night to end. And what about the excitement and joy you felt when you landed your first job? Also this, from the same article, if you find yourself recalling a fond memory and wishing you could recapture that moment, give in. It may give you the boost you need to deal with a current challenge or to simply feel better. Who doesn't want to feel better? Not just about your past or present, but also about your future. Nostalgia is much more than mere reminiscing, though. It's a feeling, isn't it? Nostalgia is the warm, fuzzy emotion that we feel when we think about fond memories from our past. It often feels bittersweet, mostly happy and comforting, but with a tinge of sadness that whatever we're remembering is lost in some way. Again, from this article from the HuffPost.com, that I will leave a link to in the show notes, it is suggested to make nostalgia work for you. But how do we do this? How do we make nostalgia work for us? There are 3 ways. Number 1, let the past inform your future. Feel your motivation flagging. Recall personal milestones and past achievements in order to reinvigorate your energies and stay focused on achieving your current goals. The most common subjects of nostalgia are the cherished or significant people, places, and events in a person's life. Number 2, make nostalgia a group activity. Asking others to share their nostalgic memories with you is likely to give you all a psychological boost. And you might just be surprised what you learn about your friends or family members. Indeed, keeping in touch with loved ones from all the stages of your life is a great way to maintain the connection between where you've been and where you are today. Taking a trip with old friends to bring you back in time and make you feel more youthful and energized. Even a little contact on social media sites, only a little, please, can bring back memories and nostalgia. Number 3, create new memories and keep traditions alive. Make deposits into a nostalgia bank, so to speak, that you can draw on when you need a boost in the future. What happens today will become the memories you hold on to forever. And that leads me to think that maybe keeping a journal of when you have good feelings and good thoughts. Hey, that should have been my rave. Keeping a journal of having great memories and what they were. You can look back and have nostalgic thoughts when you read them at a later point. Nostalgia is sentimentality for the past, and nostalgia's definition has changed greatly over time. Consistent with its Greek word roots meaning homecoming and pain, nostalgia was for centuries considered a potentially debilitating and sometimes fatal medical condition expressing extreme homesickness. So let us all forget nostalgic memories that aren't worth our memories, even today. Say goodbye to all those memories that you want to forget. And only remember nostalgia that is going to bring you warm and fuzzy feelings. Now, nostalgia is associated with a yearning for the past, its personalities and events, especially the good old days or a warm childhood feeling. These recollections of one's past are usually important events, people one cares about, and places where one has spent time, and music and weather can also be strong triggers of nostalgia. The nostalgia definition says that the feelings in the past are better than the ones in the present. Not necessarily. The modern view is that nostalgia is an independent and even positive emotion that many people experience often. Occasionally, nostalgia has been found to have many functions, such as to improve mood, increase social connectedness, enhance positive self-regard, and provide existential meaning. Many nostalgic reflections serve more than one function, though, and overall seem to benefit those who experience them. Improving your mood? Yes, although nostalgia is often triggered by negative feelings, it results in increasing one's mood and heightening positive emotions, which can stem from feelings of warmth or coping, resulting from nostalgic reflections. As we know, one way to improve mood is to effectively cope with problems that hinder one's happiness. Now this has got me thinking. Social connections? Yep, nostalgia also sometimes involves memories of people you were close to, and it can increase one's sense of social support and connections. Self-esteem? Nostalgia serves as a coping mechanism and helps people to feel better about who they are. Well, how about this? An advertising tool? You bet. The feeling of longing for the past is easily communicated through social media and advertising because it requires the participation of multiple senses and therefore become more reminiscent of reality. Due to efficient advertising that we see every day, consumers need not have experienced a specific event or moment in time in order to feel nostalgic. This is due to a phenomenon referred to as vicarious nostalgia. Vicarious nostalgia is a feeling of yearning for a moment that occurred prior to the span of one's memory. The constant advertisements and other media messages makes vicarious nostalgia possible and changes the way we understand advertisements and subsequently the way consumers use their purchasing power. This is a very strong advertising method that works. You can see it in advertising on TV and in websites all over the internet. Record players, old-fashioned TVs, t-shirts with 70s and 80s rock bands on them or logos on them like MTV. How about Polaroid cameras? They're very popular on Amazon. These items are sometimes bought by parents, well, most likely, I would say bought by parents that are feeling nostalgic and want their children to have the same feelings. My nostalgia involves a yearning to go back to my childhood, to where the problems that exist today were pretty much non-existent. Playing with simple toys, such as pick-up sticks, jacks, light bright, reading an actual book with pages. The first concert I went to see with my dad when I was 14, Adam and the Ants. The friends I used to have but have lost touch with. Playing with a rambunctious dog out in the yard and smiling, remembering how I was so happy that very day. I try to keep my nostalgia bright and happy and positive, but sometimes it's difficult. Because as we all know, we also have memories from the past that are so bad they might actually make you sick. One thing that I love doing, that I have always done because it brings back a good feeling, is that when it rains or snows, I give myself permission to hunker down, as my dad used to say, with an actual book, and a blanket around me with a hot cup of tea. There's nothing cozier for me than that. The things that I called retro style that's so popular now, when I actually had a record player because vinyl was the only way to listen to music. Who else did that? Raise your hand. Who's raising their hand right now? Watching the very first video that was played on MTV. The Buggles, Video Killed the Radio Star, for those that don't know. Having a great time studying radio production in college because, well, there was no podcasting. The friends associated with the good times I had there. Ah, good times. That's the kind of nostalgia that I want. And now it's time for a special Rave with Stephanie. On August 15th of 2016, I started Talk Tales and Trivia. So this week marks the 2-year anniversary of Talk Tales and Trivia, and I want to thank you all for listening. When I started this podcast, the key words that I used to describe it were sit, relax, listen, enjoy, and it remains that way today, 2 years later. I used those words because that's what I wanted to do. Sit, relax, listen, enjoy. The focus of Talk Tales and Trivia has always been to put your feet up for a little while and forget about the turmoil or bad news of the day, or the argument that you just had with a family member or a friend, or anything else that is going on outside of yourselves that's not quite right. I am committed to you, as any podcaster should be, to a listener, and also that the content will become better and better, as I want it to be relevant and have topics that you can learn from and enjoy and maybe laugh with me a little too. So this rave is for you. You've made Talk Tales and Trivia so special for me. Without you, well, without your love and support, we just simply wouldn't be here. Thank you so very much. We do appreciate all of you. What do you feel about nostalgia? How have you experienced nostalgia? Is it a good thing or a bad thing for you? I'd like to know. You can get in touch with me at talktalesandtrivia@gmail.com, Twitter, TalkTalesETC, Facebook, Talk Tales and Trivia, and you can go to talktalesandtrivia.com to listen to this episode again, or listen to past episodes. That's always fun. I hope that you have enjoyed this episode on nostalgia, and I hope that you have learned as much as I have about nostalgia. Let's only make it good. We'll see you next week on Talk Tales and Trivia. See ya!